Hey friend, this is episode number 550 of the And So podcast with Taylor Bradford. Let's get to it. Boss Girl Creative presents And So with Taylor Bradford, business and life musings from a successful serial entrepreneur. Each week, you will hear Taylor spill the tea on all things business, life, relationships, health, and everything in between. But don't worry, each week also includes a business nugget that will help you stay on course. And now a throwback to 3-year-old Taylor who inspired all of this.
And so, what is it?
If you've been pacing around your office or living room or hallway, replaying the same question over and over and over in your head, you don't need another list. You need a voice. The Clarity Shot is a one-to-one voice memo reply. I take your real-time business stuck point and send back a clear step forward. It's $27. It's calm, and it's faster than waiting for your brain to finally catch up. Ask your question at bossgirlcreative.com/shot. Hello, beautiful. Welcome to episode 550 of the And So podcast. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. Thank you so much for being here. I have a salty doozy for you coming up. It's about pizza. Oh my goodness. It's salty. That's what we're going to go with. It's salty. Let's find out what has been going on in my world. First up, my course assets are finally finished for the main course. I do still need to do some, I don't want to say updating, but I need to make them a little bit more cohesive. So when I finally was going through the last 8 assets that were delivered, I realized how much repeat there was of a calendar. I didn't realize how much I was using a reference to calendars. Check this, in this month do this. And I'm like, oh my goodness, that's too many cheat sheets that focus on way too many calendars. There just needs to be one thing that people are going to go back to. So I do need to make them a bit more cohesive, but the fact that they're done, brings me so much joy. I did just, was it yesterday or the day before? I did just buy sugarcreekfarmtx.com as a domain name, and I set up a forward or an auto forward to thehouseofsugarcreek.com because I want to be able to change the way the House of Sugar Creek website looks like. I did a pretty big overhaul a couple of months ago to the website itself. And that was also when I was revamping into the slow living and the gardening and the, just getting back to nature kind of a pathway. And y'all, I just live in chaos. I feel like I live in perpetual chaos. My day to day is never boring and each day is different than the last day. So there's not really a whole lot that I can be oh, today is going to be so easy. No, that just doesn't happen that often in my world. So I wanted back then, I wanted a revamp. So I bought a brand new theme and fixed everything into that direction. And now I am pivoting more onto or into the garden education side of things and less on the slow living, get back to nature kind of things. And I needed to make all of that be reflected in the update. So now I'm using the Sugar Creek Farm logo instead of the House of Sugar Creek logo, even though the URL, the landing URL is still the House of Sugar Creek. You can get there by using Sugar Creek Farm TX. And then when you're on the website, it won't be in your face that it's the House of Sugar Creek, even though that's still everything I'm using. And literally all that to say, my very first blog was Goings On in Texas, and then I revamped it and changed it to Pink Hills Pink Truck. And from Pink Hills Pink Truck, I went to taylorbradford.com just to make things easy. Well, back in 2017, 2019, I don't remember the year, I decided that the House of Sugar Creek would be a better umbrella because I had Sugar Creek Event Rentals and Sugar Creek Creative, and I wanted other things with the name Sugar Creek, and I wanted an umbrella. And so I created the House of Sugar Creek. I turned TaylorBradford.com into a resume/portfolio, even though the blog still lives there. You can't get to the blog unless you know or you find something on Pinterest that links you back to one of my old blog posts. I did rewrite some blog posts that I had over on Taylor Bradford over to the House of Sugar Creek, but I never really got back into 5 days a week blogging once I did all of that. Like, I was just in a place mentally that I just couldn't. And so the House of Sugar Creek has been like revamped multiple times over the last few years. And I don't want to have to forward all of that still makes sense with this new direction to a new URL. It would just take too much time, and it's just a PETA, and I don't want a PETA. So what's the easiest thing? Forward a brand new domain, change the logo, and bam, it looks like you're at Sugar Creek Farm TX. So I did go ahead and get my homepage copy updated. I got my email opt-in updated. I do need to fix the welcome sequence that pops for that. So that's still on my list. I got my bio on Instagram and TikTok updated. And then I had the House of Sugar Creek Facebook page connected to my Instagram, my personal Instagram. And so I swapped that to be connected to the farm Facebook. So this whole time, I launched the farm stand in June of 2025. This whole time I've been posting about like the produce that I have for sale, snippets of the garden, etc. And I've gained a pretty decent following. Like I told you in previous episodes that I was using Facebook Marketplace to help me sell my extra produce, which was a really smart move on my part. Patting myself on the back for that. But what I failed to do was collect email address. Shame on me for not collecting email addresses. So I will fix that when I start selling back through the farm stand. But all that to say, I have farm gardening related content already built up for 6 solid months on this Facebook page, and I connected it. I created my very first reel. I mean, not my very first reel, but my very first reel to this Facebook page. So I publish it on Instagram and push it over to Facebook. And OMG, it is sitting at almost 4,000 total views. I've gained 12 new followers to my Facebook page. Why didn't I do that sooner? Like all this gardening content, I've just been working up a hill going nowhere. So I'm excited because I think that is the signals that I've already given to Facebook. I am in the farm category for my Facebook page. I just published gardening content on a farm Facebook page, and it calculated correctly in the algorithm and sent it out to people interested in that. And I'm blown away. I'm blown away. So I'm looking forward to see what happens next with the next one that I post, which is coming out tomorrow. I think consistently I can show up on stories, but for reels, even though not too long ago I was doing the experiment where I was posting every single day, I don't have that capacity right now. And I don't want to set myself up to fail. Plus, knowing I have this course coming out, maybe I'll ramp up back into 7 days a week of content, but right now I don't have that capacity. So I need to be consistent with the days that I publish. And yeah, so that's where I'm going to start. So next up, I need to record the course. I keep saying that, but that truly is the next step. I need to load it into a course platform. I need to build out my sales page and my checkout page. I need to connect to a course platform, like the checkout page to the course, etc. I need to actually make it go live. And then I need to figure out what's next, which I think part of is what I said last week, get feedback on the course from people, build out the funnel that happens in the upsells before the checkout, and also take the ads course that I mentioned last week. So that is where I'm at for that. The house build. Let's talk about the house build. 90% of the framing is complete in the downstairs area. The upstairs has flooring, and they started on framing today for the upstairs, which is fantastic. I was supposed to meet with my cabinet guy today, but he had an emergency dentist appointment, so hopefully we can reschedule something soon because I'd like to go ahead and get that lined out, figured out how much is it going to be, etc. Books. What did I finish between last week and this week? Another Dan Brown book, Digital Fortress. Was not that enamored by it. 3 stars. I love the Robert Langdon series. This one, not so much. I don't think it's a series. I think this was a standalone book. I just wasn't a fan. 3 stars. So that puts me at reading 93 books on the year. My goal was 75, so I've more than smashed my goal. 9 days left in the year as of this recording, and I know I will for sure finish one more. Can I get to 100? That would be 6 more books to read in 9 days. Most of it I will be listening to because I probably cannot actually physically read that many books in 9 days. So I will be listening. So we'll see. We'll see how close I get. And then finally in the garden, I started my onion seeds indoors in seed snails. That is the reel that I posted on my Instagram, pushed it to my farm Facebook. It took off like unexpectedly. I haven't seen those kind of numbers in a very long time. So that was exciting. I did get all of my seeds organized. Well, I should say my seeds are organized. I just didn't know what I had left from 2025 planting season to what I can use in 2026 and then where I needed to fill in the gaps. So I figured that out and I made my 2026 seed order except for one because I forgot. I have to order 1 packet of tomato seeds from a company I don't mass buy from. So I just made myself a note. -1, need to remember. And it's a tomato. Search bar confessions are next. Here's what I went to Google for. I Google a lot. So some of it I don't even want to bring up because it's just really weird things. Like I wanted to know what I didn't know about Home Alone 2 again. Like I already asked what I didn't know about Home Alone 1, but I didn't ask about 2, so that's what I was doing. But anyways, I Googled muck boots. So that was one thing I wanted for Christmas is a good pair of muck boots. Because when it rains, my garden gets very muddy and the foot attire that I have cowboy boots that are work boots that are really more for mucking in a stall, not squatting down and pulling weeds. Like the comfortability level of my boots are not meant for garden. And I have like these fake, what are those things? Crocs. And yeah, they work in the summer, but they don't work when it's cooler or cold. And I don't like getting my feet wet. I don't mind if they get sandy, but I don't like them getting wet. So I didn't really have another option besides my hunter boots, which are tall boots. And they're not exactly squattable kind of footwear. So I went on the hunt for muck boots. I actually did buy some for my Christmas gift. And they're from Merry People. I think they're Australian based, Merry. And I'm looking forward to getting them. I also signed up for a $1,000 a day challenge. So with the preparation of launching this gardening course, I want to be able to ramp it up. Literally, if I'm working through the 5 ones, like you've heard me say in the last few episodes, I want to get to $1,000 a day in selling this product or this funnel of products. So I'm going to be in a challenge that's going to help set me up for that. And I'm really using it more for accountability to actually finish all of the action taken that I've been doing and not delay any further. I also Googled dark oak wood close to me because I decided to do wooden stairs instead of metal stairs to save on costs. And I don't know, I've never bought stair treads before. And yeah, so I need to figure that out. I'm going to stain the stair treads and paint the risers and paint like the thing that goes diagonal down, the sides of your stairs. And then I also Googled just stair steps wood And then how wide do stair steps need to be? Because I didn't know how wide I needed to buy. So that makes up this week's Search Bar Confessions. I already talked about the farm Facebook and the first reel that just blew me out of the water. So let's get into this week's business nugget, which has everything to do with tonight's pizza experience. That is what we're going to be talking about. Pizza. So I'm going to tee this up for you. We go up to Fort Worth to meet my sister-in-law and our nephew. She wanted to have him take photos with Santa. He's 20 months old. My father-in-law was also meeting us up there. And we had had to help a client, so we weren't able to witness the scary Santa expedition. But we did go up there to meet them for dinner. And my sister-in-law is gluten-free. She has celiac. And she wanted to test out this pizza place that has a gluten-free pizza dough option. I think it's actually made out of cauliflower. So she puts our name on the list. The host tells her that they are short-staffed and to check back in 15 minutes because they're limiting their dining seating. So it's not that there was a wait list per se. He just said check back in 15 minutes and hopefully somebody will have cleared out and then we can replace them with you. Which, okay, whatever. So we are waiting the 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was, and we can see that there's some outside seating, and a 20-month-old doesn't like to stay still, and they need room to run, and we need to be able to easily get up from the table and chase after him or walk with him or whatever. So we decided to sit outside. It's a nice day. We hit 74 degrees on December 22nd, which is wild. And so we sit outside so that we all can take turns of getting up and moving around with him. The host is who comes and takes our drink order. Well, he's only been there for a week and doesn't really understand the system, the handheld system that he's walking around with. So our drink order is when it shows up is 50% complete. We have to ask for the other drinks that are missing. And then he takes our order. And probably 20 or 30 minutes goes by in between getting those drinks and waiting for food because we placed our order. And a gentleman comes out to reconfirm our order, that the kitchen was loud and they didn't understand, even though this host person typed it in to their handheld device. So I don't know why you're yelling in the kitchen, but okay. And so we sit again for longer, and my father-in-law ordered a large salad, and then my husband and I ordered a 16-inch pizza, and my sister-in-law ordered a 12-inch pizza. My father-in-law's large salad comes out. No silverware is given, so he sits there staring at a salad he can't eat. And finally, we get him some silverware, and then we're still waiting on pizza. And we are waiting, and no lie, I feel like we wait another 30, 40 minutes after his salad is served before we see a pizza. And it's my husband and I's pizza. So they're the cauliflower pizza is right behind it. Okay, perfect. And oh, by the way, we need plates. We need silverware. We have no utensils at all. And we finally get the plates, we finally get the silverware, but that's 5 minutes as we're eating this pizza off the table and still no cauliflower pizza, nowhere in sight. And I start eating this pizza that they delivered and it's cold in the middle. A 16-inch pizza, probably in a circle, a good 5 to 6 inches. So probably a third of the pizza is cold. Just stone cold. So I'm starving at this point, so I'm still sort of eating. My husband is scarfing down food. My sister-in-law does not have her pizza. And I'm okay, I feel like we have respectfully waited. And nobody's really apologizing. Nobody is really doing a whole lot of anything. Besides the host just keeps saying, I've only been here a week. I'm so sorry. That's all we we got. So I go in and I go to the bar because I don't see any wait staff anywhere. I go to the bar and I said, hey, I'm just wanting to check on our missing pizza and then also let you know that the middle of our pizza that was delivered is stone cold. And he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what to tell you about the missing pizza. I think it's ridiculous that you're missing pizza, that you're having to wait this long. Like whatever, he just kind of goes on a rant. He said, let me go check in with the kitchen. So I kind of semi follow him, but I'm like, I'm going to stand right here, go let him do his thing. And hopefully somebody come out and help me. And this older gentleman comes out of the kitchen. He's the one that reconfirmed our order after a 20-minute wait. And he walks up to me and he said, I hear that your pizza is cold. Would you like me to fire another pepperoni pizza for you? I said, well, that would be lovely, but we're also still missing a pizza. And so our pizza is cold and she's missing a pizza. And he just starts mansplaining to me, talking about how many pizzas he's got working in the kitchen right now. He's got 50. And I'm like staring in the dining room that they were limiting seating with, and there's maybe 8 tables, 10 tops, but for sure 8 tables. And everybody's really kind of waiting on food. I see salads out, but that's really all I see. I don't see any hot food. And I looked at him and I said, well, that's really not my problem. My problem is I'm missing a pizza and mine is cold. This guy flips his lid and says, do not be disrespectful to me. Look at me. He said, look at my gray face and say that to me again. And I was said, excuse me, I'm simply stating what my problem is. Your problems are not my problem. My problem is I'm a paying customer waiting on food and I've been waiting way too long for said food. And then he tells me, well, there's a 50 to 55 minute wait on pizza. Why is there a 50 to 55 minute wait on pizza with 8 people sitting inside? That's it. And I was the only guest outside. So he basically says, I'm not talking to you anymore. This conversation is over. And I said, I would like to speak to the manager. He said, I am the manager. I said, I would like your information. And so he walks over, won't even look at me in the eye, flips his card at me, doesn't throw it at me, but flips it at me. I take it and he just storms off. And everybody's watching this exchange. And I walk up to the host podium and I look at the other business cards that are sitting there, and there's 2 other manager names. So I grab their cards, and these people that are waiting on a pizza are like, are you a customer? And I said, I am. I am sitting outside. I had 1 pizza served to me that's cold, and I'm missing a second pizza, and we've been waiting for an hour and a half since ordering our food. She's like, well, we've been waiting for an hour, and we just showed up to get our pizza, but it's not ready. I cannot believe he just said all that to you, and you're a paying customer. I was like, yeah, I'm really kind of shocked myself. So I end up going outside. I'm like, this man's not going to talk to me anymore. And my husband's like, let's just cash out and go. Let's just cash out and go. So I said, I can't go back in. You will have to go back in, or somebody's going to have to go back in. So my husband goes back in, and the guy, I don't know who this was. Somebody was like, it'll be $80-something. And my husband's like, for 2 pizzas? What in the world? So then that guy's like, oh, I don't know. And so they ends up getting the general manager back. And he doesn't look at my husband, and he just says, you don't have a bill. You're finished. So my husband's like, okay. And so he walks out. He's like, I got to get some tip money for the waiter. I'm not running my card. And so we go and tip the waiter, and then we leave. My husband says, we had no bill. He comped it. And I said, well, that was the least he could do. But you talk about being so ego-driven. I don't think that I have ever experienced an older gentleman being this confrontational and disrespectful to me as a customer in an establishment. This guy legitimately just chose ego, and he just chose to be defensive with me, and he chose to silence me rather than fix what was broken. So let's sit with that for a second. Because the whole ordeal, the delay, the cold pizza, the manager meltdown, like I really thought you were acting like my 20-month-old nephew out there right now. It wasn't just a bad customer service moment. It also felt reflected as like a mirror moment, even though I personally, I hope and pray I've never treated somebody like this, but like, what if we do? What if that gets reflected back? And if it does, how uncomfortable would that be? So let's break this open. How often do we do this in business? How often do we try to hold it all together when something clearly isn't working? How often do we choose ego over clarity? How often do we get defensive instead of curious? And how often do we silence our own signals, the ones quietly whispering, this isn't sustainable, just to look like we've got it under control? Let me tell you, this man didn't have anything under control. He hid out in that kitchen the whole time. Like, when you cannot lead with apology first, knowing your establishment cannot keep up, like, at minimum, choose to say dining is not an option right now. If you would like to place a to-go order, we can serve you in this way, but we are not at capacity to serve you in the dining room. Like, shut the dining room down if you are that far in the weeds because you have no server staff. Like, know when to go home and when to stay open, right? But for us as business owners, it's not that we're bad business owners if we find ourselves in these situations. We are still human, but we need to check ourselves. We need to not ignore the signals. So let's go back to the first question I asked. How often do we do this in business? We keep the doors open when we should pause. We stick to a launch plan even when the offer doesn't feel right anymore. We let something ride, the broken system, the missing SOP, the offer we don't actually enjoy delivering, just because we already committed and we don't want to look flaky. And I get it, there's pressure to look consistent, to follow through, to avoid the shame spiral of changing your mind again. But real consistency isn't about pretending everything's fine. It's about noticing when things aren't and responding to that with honesty. Sometimes the boldest move is to say, this isn't working, I'm hitting pause. Not because you're quitting, but because you're protecting the integrity of what you are building. Question 2, I asked, how often do we try to power through without capacity? This one can hit deep. Because listen, the pizza place, they didn't have the staff, and instead of adjusting the model like going takeout only or closing early, they decided to power through, and it showed. In the food, in the wait, in the stress dripping off of literally every interaction with every staff member that we encountered. Now think about how often we do the same. We add another project. We take on another client. We launch something new without adjusting the rest of the load. And then we wonder why everything feels like it's slipping. This is where capacity mapping matters. Not just do I have the time, but do I have the energy and the focus and the structure to do this well? If your internal systems, your automations, your support, your time blocks cannot carry the extra weight, that's not a personal flaw, that's a systems problem. And systems can be reworked, even temporarily, even if it's just one shift that buys you that breathing room that you desperately need. Question number 3 I asked, how often do we silence our own signals just to keep up appearances? This is the root of it. Because I didn't know it at the time that he was the GM, but I'm the one that called him out, and it was publicly done. It was not rudely. I was very respectful in my entire delivery and was shocked when he decided to pull an entitlement card and flip the narrative on me that I was being the one that was disrespectful. And instead of trying to fix the situation, he literally shut down, and then he escalated his anger towards me and walked away. And it makes me wonder, how often do we silence ourselves? How often do we feel the misalignment but push through anyway because we've already told people it was coming? How often do we want to change something, our messaging, our direction, our delivery, but we don't because someone might think we're inconsistent? And here's the truth. Silencing your own clarity to maintain a false sense of professionalism is a fast track to burnout. The real professionalism is in adjusting when something needs to shift. It's in responding, not reacting. This man reacted so badly towards me. It's in refining the plan when the plan no longer fits. So let's talk solutions. What do we do instead? What does it look like to handle the chaos without choosing your ego? It's what I've been practicing, and maybe it'll help you too. Start with presence, not performance. When you feel the spiral coming on, capacity slipping, something not working, don't rush to fix it for appearances. Take a pause. Notice what's true. Say it out loud, even just to yourself. Number 2, choose clarity over control. Sometimes our instinct is to tighten the grip, but clarity often requires loosening it. Ask what would feel more aligned right now, even if it's not what I planned. Number 3, build in a plan B. Not just for worst case scenarios, but for actual real life scenarios. If you need to pause content for a week, do you have an evergreen post, or do you even have a repurpose folder? If your offer hits capacity, do you have a waitlist system that holds the overflow? Number 4, normalize adjusting out loud. This is the hardest, but it's the most liberating. Say the shift, name the pivot, let your people see the real-time clarity happening. They will trust you more, not less. And number 5, don't wait for a crisis to rework your systems. Check your capacity regularly. Update what no longer fits. Revisit your workflows before they break, because a cold pizza is just disappointing, but a broken system left unattended, that can cost you momentum, trust, and peace. You don't have to hold it all together. You just have to respond when something starts to fall apart. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. And it's how we build businesses that last, not through pretending we have it all together, but by adjusting when we don't. And if you feel like you are in this place right now, that is the perfect time for you to choose a clarity shot. It is a 1-to-1 voice memo. You send me your question. I respond back within 24 hours and I get you unstuck. It's $27 and you can get yours at bossgirlcreative.com/shot. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic Christmas holiday and a great rest of your week. And like my 3-year-old self said, that is all for this week. Friendly reminder to rate and review my show wherever you are listening. And last but not least, I'd love to hear from you. Leave me an audio message at bossgirlcreative.com/speak. I would love to hear your takeaways, ideas for upcoming episode topics, and your feedback. Thank you again for listening to this week's episode. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of this one.